Hi everyone, welcome to the monthly PR workshop conducted by Rotary District 7910. My name is Laura Spear and I'm the Public Image Chair for District 7910. Today we're going to talk about Rotary identity elements. But first, let me give you a little background. Back in late 2006, Rotary International sponsored a survey about public relations. Sent it out to all the Rotarians around the world, and 70% of those who responded said that PR, or public relations, directly led to membership recruitment. Of those respondents, 57% had a website, which meant 43% did not. Even though they saw that PR was really important, less than half had coverage. That meant no TV or radio or internet or billboards, any type of public relations coverage. So in 2011, Rotary International had a multi-year initiative that kicked it off to strengthen the Rotary image. Did a lot of work, did a lot of research, did a lot of talking to Rotarians to see what the core values and strengths and messaging of Rotary should be. And in 2013, Rotary International launched a new voice and visual identity guidelines. So you can find this on the Brand Center. It's www.rotary.org/brandcenter. You're going to have to log in using your rotary.org access with your username and password, but it's very simple to go in. Please download those guidelines. Now this is important because it's not just your PR chair who has to worry about the look, the feel, the messaging of what you're trying to convey. All of us are brand ambassadors, and it's up to all of us, not just your PR chairs, to protect and promote and deliver the Rotary story in all of our public interactions. We are all brand ambassadors. It's only through this unified image and messaging that we can enhance our recognition and the reputation of Rotary around the world, and as a result, elevate the entire Rotary experience. So let's talk about the elements that you can use, the building blocks that you can use to help create this unified Rotary image and message. So our values. First of all, what are values? Values actually drive behavior. They drive how we behave as Rotarians. They represent our beliefs, what we do, and how we act. And based on the research that was done, you'll see that our values really got distilled into these four areas: fellowship and global understanding, ethics and integrity, diversity, vocational expertise, service, and leadership. What we're trying to do is bring our values to life by demonstrating them in communities around the world. And we do that by how we talk, how we present ourselves, and the look and feel of our communications. So let's start with the first identity element, which is the Rotary voice. Your voice is your unique tone and the style and how you communicate. And based, again, on the research that was done, it was distilled into these four areas. Our voice should be smart, compassionate, persevering, and inspiring. So we need to reflect that voice, all of those different attributes in how we speak, how we write, and how we design all of our communications so that they all look, feel, and sound like Rotary. The second element is the logo. So it used to be that we had this great two-tone Rotary wheel, and that was used on all of our materials. Well, that is no longer what we should be using. By default, we should be using this Rotary word with the little the wheel next to it. That's the default. That logo is called the master brand signature, and it should be in color. So you use this colored logo, this image, in all of your printing and digital materials. Now there are other alternatives available on the Brand Center. You'll see a one-color logo, but you should only use that if you have one-color printing, if you're only doing black and white, for example, or if you have very complex backgrounds. Now we still have a wheel. Now that's over here. Notice how big it is. This wheel is our mark of excellence. It's a representative as a symbol of our leadership. Never use this by itself. It should always be used with this rotary with the little wheel next to it. This larger wheel, this mark of excellence, should be at least 4 times the size of this default logo over here. Don't overuse it. You might want to put it on the front page of a multi-page document or brochure. And you want to separate it from the official logo. People were finding they really didn't understand seeing that old wheel, what that meant. By spelling out Rotary, this is the one that we need to use by default. Now, many clubs have their own names, and so you can create your own club logo using the Rotary template. Just go on to Grand Center, and then very simply walks you through the process of how to create a specific club logo. And we do have another monthly PR workshop on logos that was recorded. You can find it in the PR section of the Rotary7910.org website. So when we talk about logos, again, this is your default. You only use the big wheel occasionally. You don't overuse it. You keep it separate from the default logo. And you never, ever, ever modify or change the logos. Don't change the colors. Don't crop them. You want to leave them exactly as they are. The third element is your color palette. And with this new branding system, we're focused on 4 primary leadership colors. And you'll see them right here. Rotary Azure is the default leadership color. When in doubt, use this color. There are 2 other types of blue, the sky blue and the royal blue that you can use. And then you'll see a gold. And that gold is really just a pop of color. You use that for accents. Think of it as the jewel on the page. You don't want to overuse it. You're just using it to highlight. So you also have the option of using some secondary colors. These colors should only be used sparingly. You add them for accents and other highlights in addition to these 4 primary colors. If you need a little more flexibility in your design, you can use the pastels and neutrals that are in the color palette. You can use those without really being overbearing in how you present. So what does Rotary Azure or Rotary Sky Blue really map to? Well, that voice and visual identity guidelines actually includes all of the information you need to get the exact match. So you will see that there are PMS colors, there are hex colors, and most importantly, if you're doing something in a Microsoft Office application like PowerPoint or Word, you have RGB, and you can use these red, green, blue values for your colors. The 4th area of our identity system is the typography. The primary typeface is a typeface called Frutiger. Frutiger is not available freely. You have to pay for it. So there are a couple of free options. One is an Open Sans condensed, and the other is Arial Narrow. I tend to use Arial Narrow because it's free. It's included with all of the Microsoft Office applications. Using this primary typeface, put it in the headlines and your main navigation. You do want them to be all caps. You can use that gold to highlight 1 or 2 words for emphasis, and you can use it if you have a very lengthy paper or document that has dense text. You can use the Frutiger or the Arial Narrow because it's a sans serif. It's a cleaner, easier typeface to read. The complementary or secondary typeface is something called Sentinel. Sentinel is also a paid-for typeface. The free version that you can find in Microsoft Office applications is Georgia, and that's what we actually have on this slide here. Georgia can be used for subheads and body copy. So you're really combining the Arial Narrow for your headlines, and Georgia for your text. Another convention is to create text blocks and use that Rotary Azure, that leadership blue, with some white text to call out your text information. Another point is that text is justified, or it's got a hard left margin. You do not center the text. It's harder to read. It's not easy to see it, and it's inconsistent with how Rotary presents the information. Another point is please only use bold or italic text for emphasis. That's it, just a little bit at a time. A little bit goes a long way. Our fifth element is imagery. And through our imagery, we want to really emphasize photographs and photos that focus on connections and community. So what does that mean? You should feature people. We want to show Rotarians in action, showing leadership, mingling and working with each other, showing camaraderie and movement. And you can use candid shots. Don't pose people. That looks very stiff and unnatural. We want something that looks very natural and real. You can use metaphorical or conceptual photographs like handshakes or maybe a bowl with some food if you're doing a project overseas to feed the hungry. But again, these should be all photographs. Do not use clip art or cartoons or animated graphics. We want to make this look real. The sixth element are icons and information graphics. These tend to be used more for digital or web-based marketing activities. If you do use them, make sure that you have a very simple and modern and informative style to them. There is not a lot in the library that you can just cut and paste, but you can create your own, and these are examples that you can see on this slide. If you're using shapes, use circles, and you really would use these as icons to illustrate facts or to help aid navigation. You don't use them as logos. We only have one logo, and it's this guy down here, the word Rotary with the little wheel next to it. So you put all of this together to create your communication materials for the public. You can create flyers, you can create presentations, brochures, handouts, pamphlets, whatever. Just make sure you're using these building blocks all of together. You can see examples on that brand center. Again, it's www.rotary.com/brand center. You do need to log in. Take a look at the Rotarian. There are a lot of ads in there that they serve as a good example or template for what you can do. And then additionally, we have a lot of club examples on our District 7910 website. So you can look at those, and how to create or edit or modify some of these can be done through recordings that we've been doing through these PR workshops. So the bottom line, consistency and repetition is key. Basically, we want cohesion. Everything you do should be part of the Rotary whole. You want to build upon every communication to increase awareness and understanding of Rotary. It takes a lot of repetition, a lot of reinforcement for people to absorb the message. The more we all adhere to these identity elements in our design, in our voice, in our communication, the more we can strengthen the Rotary image and recognition with the public. And not only that, but it really will motivate and engage Rotarians in your club and across our districts. It could attract prospective members or donors for fundraising campaigns. And the bottom line is it does elevate the entire Rotary experience. So next steps. Again, download that voice and visual identity guidelines from the Brand Center. But more importantly, read it, internalize it, and please follow the guidelines. Take a look at some of the examples and training materials, such as our PR workshops that are available on the District 7910 website. Take a look at the Rotarian. Get inspired by some of the ads and examples that they have there in their imagery and their layout. And if you have questions, start with Laura Spear, our District 7910 Public Image Chair. And how do you reach me? Very simple. Here's my contact information. Please feel free. The best way to reach me is by email. As Paul Harris once said, the greatest of all achievements are the result of the combined effort of heart and head and hand working in perfect coordination. We too want all of our public relation materials to be working together in perfect coordination.